It is the technology show where we translate geek
into regular speak.
Every week. Hello, Angela. How are you?
Hi, Brett. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
To everyone out there watching and or listening now or later, as is the case, because I know many of you follow up later. We know that. Thank you very much for all the questions that you've been sending in, all the follow-ups and all the shout-outs. Don't stop with any of them.
We need to look a bit more down. We still don't have a Panacast. Jabra, still no Panacast.
We know Jabra doesn't love us, and in protest, I'm no longer wearing my Jabra headphones.
Oh, there we go. And I'm still using mine, so I can't give those up just yet. So let's move into Thingz with a Z. I've got to just share my screen so we can get it up there. And we've actually got quite an interesting day. We've got a guest coming in a bit later on.
We have a real human.
A real human
Joining us today. It is not artificial intelligence.
No.
Or VR or AR. It's a real human.
A real human. Good. Well,
remotely.
Remotely, yes, because we don't have room in our studio to have people.
There's plenty of room in our studio.
Yes, with a Panacast. Another hint. That's 3 weeks in a row, Jabra. We've earned our rights to get a Panacast. I'm going to stand aside with the sign.
Okay, you've put the watch on my face.
Well, I didn't do it on purpose.
Okay, so I'm going to be here.
So if we move.
I move like this.
I move that way. There we go. Right. Why do I have a watch on the screen, Angela?
Because you're bloody fascinated
with
and
Apple
enthralled,
watches.
And that's all you talk about.
So
watch. I must show you this. Watch. I must show you this. See this? It does this.
I can't even argue with you. So there is a reason why I did this. I've realized that most of the shows that I try and plan, that I work on, oh, look, I can make that smaller. Look at that. Then you can see more stuff of us.
Finally, so the tech guy works out how to make it smaller.
Well, I've never had to have that problem of trying to make it smaller. So,
Gail.
I realized that in all of our shows, I always talk about Apple, Siri, and I always talk about Google, Google Home, Google Voice, etc. There's another ecosystem out there that's as big, as important, and a lot of people use it. And that is?
Alexa. There's an Alexa watch.
No, I've just put the picture over Alexa watch. This is the problem. So Alexa is a voice assistant.
Yeah.
But you can't get Alexa on a watch. You can't control it on your phone, and it's.
Is it because you're not yelling loud enough?
No, on an Apple Watch, your default setting or your voice command setting is Siri. So the app of the week is Voice in a Can. An independent developer has developed Alexa for the watch, and I can do it. I think I've got it on.
Was he allowed to do that?
Sure. Why not? It's an app. There we go. Voice in a Can. What is the authenticating? What is the weather today? So now thinking.
In Sydney, it's 21 degrees.
So I'm now using Alexa on my Apple Watch, okay, which is not possible without Voice in a Can app. And the reason for that is quite important because a lot of people have Alexa at home. They have the ecosystem. They use Alexa to control their homes, but they can't do it from their watch because it's an Apple Watch.
Okay, I have a headache. I have a technology headache.
Why?
Because my list now of things that I need
is Amazon
has now gone to, bloody Alexa. I mean, really, I draw the line at living with another woman. However.
Okay, I'll tell you why it's important.
I don't hate the idea.
So everyone knows I'm a fanboy. I will not have Apple control my home. I find the whole home network, Siri.
Hi, Mina.
Terrible. Where did you see a hi?
Hi, Mina.
Oh, there.
How are you? Well, I'm stuck here.
There we go. Mina's talking.
I'm stuck here. Mina Brett squished me in a corner, literally.
Well, I didn't mean to. So, but anyway, let's go back to Alexa. Hi, Mina. So, basically, Apple will not be in my house. I won't use Apple HomeKit to control my house. I use Google. That's my choice. But I do have a couple of Amazon products as well, and I shop on Amazon. So now, without an Amazon Echo, I can't go, Alexa, order me my vitamins or whatever it is that you want to do, because that's one of the powerful things of Alexa Voice is you can actually just talk to it and order your stuff. You can go reorder my whatever if it's on your shopping list. So now with Voice in a Can on my watch, I can sit there and talk to my watch. It will go through the Alexa network, which is what I showed you, and go straight through to Amazon without needing any other form of home entertainment, home assistance.
Are you not worried?
I was dropped on my head. In fact, I dropped myself last night as well.
No, I'm
But-
serious. So any of you that are walking the streets of Sydney
And you see me walking around.
and you see this strange guy going, Alexa,
Order my vitamins.
get my vitamins, or a router or a router,
a router.
or get
Well, if I'm
me
getting a router, I'm going to have a problem.
get me this.
Look,
Bet you Alexa can organise.
for anyone that does have an Echo Dot or Echo Home or any of the Amazon products,
So Google Nest.
that's the competitor. So I use Google Nest at home, but I do have an Amazon
Who do you talk to when you use Google Nest?
Google.
Just Google.
Yeah, I go, hey Google, but like now I can't do hey Google on my watch. I've got to find the app, open it, but I can now just speak to Alexa from my watch.
Do you think we're sitting properly? Because other weeks we look fine.
I think the camera might have moved. Should we show that this really is a live show and tweak the camera a little bit? Whoa, that didn't sound so good. We'll leave the camera for now. We'll try it again next week. Next week, hopefully we'll have a
No, you
Panacast.
keep going.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. So that is my app of the week. It is Voice Can. And now I'm going to try and do multitasking. Do you know what? I've actually got, don't move anymore. This is an ID10T error. Do you know what an ID10T error is?
Brett did it.
Come back, it's fixed. There we go.
Brett
How's
did it.
that?
Brett did it.
Very simple adjustment. Woohoo! Don't need a Jabra. Or
No.
we've actually moved it a little bit too off now. But
Oh,
for
dear
now.
gosh.
Right. So moving swiftly along.
Which
Voice in
way?
the can. You need to come this way a little bit. Turn that top part a little bit. Yep. Stop. Perfect. At least I'm in the shop now. Right. So moving swiftly along. Voice in a can for Apple Watch. My app of the week.
Yep.
I know you're not overly excited, but for any
No.
single person.
I am, because I'm imagining now I've got to have Google Nest and I've got to have
the Google Nest you
something-
use an Android phone.
Yeah, but I've got to have Alexa
Do
somehow.
you have any home assistants?
No.
Right. So you can now go
I
and
have
buy an Amazon
this
Echo
is
Dot.
This is my home assistant.
Right. So you buy an Amazon Echo Dot
Yeah.
and you talk to it the same as you do Google,
Yeah.
and you can do all your ordering through Amazon and everything else. But now the difference is when you do get your shiny Apple Watch.
I don't want to buy stuff from Amazon.
Oh, no, I do. I buy stuff. from
I don't
Amazon
have
all the
anything,
time.
but can I buy stuff from other places?
Yes, but not using
You
voice
know,
control.
well,
not using voice control. Then you have to type like a pleb. With Amazon, you can just talk.
Okay.
I'm going to move swiftly along. So I think it's a great app.
I do too.
I'm using it. It now makes
I think it's great.
Amazon come to my watch.
But
it actually says listening on my screen.
How
It's not
could
reading.
you, Brett?
Yes.
Mina says, how could you?
How could you?
I say that all the time, Mina. His wife says that all the time. Everybody says it.
Right. Well, I'm going to move on to the next thing with Thingz with a Z. So what do I have next?
Juice jacking.
Juice jacking. Do you know what that means? Without reading the notes.
No.
I'll put up my evil mask. Look at that. Doon, doon, doon.
Global Power Station Hub in partnership with Tumi. Don't they make luggage?
Well, you're getting to, but you're getting, we got to talk about juice jacking first. You can't read that part of my notes. This is juice jacking. You
Okay.
see the picture on the screen?
Yeah.
So when you go to an airport
Yeah.
or anywhere else, right, and you
Yep.
see those little USBs
Yep.
that you can plug your phone in,
Yep.
juice jacking is when they've preloaded that USB with malware. You plug your phone in like the picture shows,
Oh,
and not only does it send power, it sends malicious code into your phone and the hackers can take over your device.
who does that?
Hackers, well, that's what they do. Now,
Except
this is a
for-
real thing.
For spies?
But then they can take your bank accounts, they can take all kinds of stuff.
Oh.
So this is a real thing. Okay, this is 100%. I'm not making this up. It's called juice jacking. You're getting juice power, and it only works on the USB devices. Obviously, it doesn't work on a plug because they've had to put a USB device into it that will feed out of it. So they program the USB.
Okay,
port.
that's completely scary. You should
Right.
never.
So here's the tip of the day. That's what the show is all about.
Right.
We translate geek into regular speak. Now, this is the part of the notes that you're reading. I have a solution.
Mophie.
Okay. The bottom line is, and unfortunately, the world that we live in, you can't just plug in. I've spoken millions of times about not joining public Wi-Fi networks.
Yes,
So
I don't.
now we've got to be careful about using public charging.
Because you
So I
should
have
be
a
careful
solution.
where you stick your stuff.
Yes. If you don't have a physical plug with you, that is your only choice. That you have
PowerPoint,
a
yep.
power adapter. Now, Mophie have come up with a really cool solution. It is, in fact, I got a picture of it. There it is there. So you know Tumi, the luggage brand?
That's what I said. I
Yeah.
read it and I went, Tumi
Right.
Mac luggage.
Correct. So they've done a collaboration between Mophie, which is, you've seen my little Mophie power pack that I
Yeah.
have. There it is over there on the top. You can see it's a wireless charging technology.
Yep.
Tumi is the brand.
Yep.
It comes with international plugs. So when we're allowed to travel again, it will fit any adapter in the world. It has an 6,000 milliamp battery built into it. So you don't actually need to plug into anything. You
No.
can just charge on the go. But if you do need to charge, you'll be plugging into the plug, not the USB. So therefore it can't be hacked. There's no juice jacking. It's got an 18 watt output, USB-C, which we've spoken about before. Why some things take quicker than others to charge. 18 watts is there. It's got a 5 watt. It's got wireless charging, and it's got another 15 watt USB-A. So you can plug everything.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. You know how sometimes your friends want to plug in?
Yes, you can. You've got four different
Yeah,
adapters.
but they come over and they go, oh, I need to charge my phone, or they're in your car and oh, I need to charge my phone.
Yeah.
Right. So can they put malware on the phone cable, or does it have to be a separate?
It needs to be coming from somewhere.
Just checking.
Yeah,
so just because it looks like a USB.
Yeah, no. It has to still have something. So inside that box,
because it's a USB
the code,
port, but not a
it's
USB.
Powered, correct. So it's
Right.
been added to it.
Just clarifying
Now,
that for us
although these
normal
are
people.
USB ports
Yes.
inside, I mean, you could potentially hack this little box, this power pack, okay, the Mophie unit. But I mean, that's you doing it yourself. No third party is going to get hold of yours. But it plugs into a wall. It doesn't plug into USB. That's just electricity.
So the power cable, it has a power cable.
All the power cables, as you can see, come out the side.
Right.
That's going to your device, and you can go wireless on top where it says Tumi.
And the PowerPoint?
The PowerPoint is on the other side of it. You can't see on the phone.
Can't see.
Yeah. But it's also universal as well. So if you're going to travel, instead of using public.
And how many hours of power would it give you?
Well, if it's a 6,000 milliamp battery for your phone, that's 3 full charges.
3 days.
Yeah.
It'll charge
so
my
you
laptop.
charge it, it will, because it's got an 18 watt output. So using USB-C, you could, yes. So it's really a great little toy. I think given how we do need to be careful in this day and age, these are little hacks that can help you. But more importantly, you don't want to be without power anyway.
Yeah, but you can't be too careful with cybersecurity and your devices, given that if you live on your phone and you have all the apps in the world on your phone, as we are progressively doing.
I can move my...
We've just gone...
No, I'll get us back. We're still live.
We're still live.
My screen went dark for a second.
Keep your screens clean. Okay, next.
So that basically brings us to the end of it. Just by the way, you can't actually get this Tumi Mophie collab here in Australia. I'm lucky enough to get one. I have not opened it. I'm going to put this up on a Kazoik in the upcoming future. So it's a one-of-a-kind here. You can buy them online overseas, but it was a limited edition. They do make the same type of thing, but without the Tumi branding. So I just got the special one.
I'm very confused.
So you don't have to be confused.
Brett always gets the special ones.
I do get the special
ones. They're
ones.
marked.
That's why I'm married to Gal.
Childproof, Brett.
Right, moving swiftly along. That brings us to...
How special is Gail to get you?
She's lucky. I mean, I'm one of a kind as well, thankfully.
Okay, business tech news.
Business tech news.
Right.
Why do I have a picture of Telstra, Vodafone, and an iPhone 11?
Because they're two of the most dumb companies in Australia.
I knew you would love this segment.
Who have no idea on how to deal with customer experience and customer service.
Yes, but there's another reason for that as well, right? Telstra and Vodafone subscribers have been getting text messages saying you can buy that phone for $1. Click here. And it takes you down the whole rabbit hole. Now, hold on a second. You've just said Telstra are dum-dums and they have bad service. People, we love you. We're very grateful that you're our audience and that you follow us and listen to us every week. But if you honestly think that you can buy any iPhone, any phone for that matter, for $1, you should stop watching the show and go and check yourself in somewhere, in a little dark room somewhere. You can't buy a phone for $1. Think about that logically. You know that saying, it sounds too good to be true.
Well, they're making you sign up to a plan.
No, they're not making you buying it for $1 and you're checking out with your credit card details. Bang, bye-bye card, hello fraud. It's just phishing. It's pure phishing campaign. So,
and do they know that these their brands
know, but you can't stop it though, right? Because it's coming. We've all got them. You get those JB Hi-Fi. You've won. It happens all the time. I'm going to always talk about this on our shows because I think it's part of our duty for our audience. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Not probably is, it is.
But it'd be interesting to find data and see whether circumstances and that whether it's going up exponentially.
Well, a
These
million of
kind
these
of-
text messages went out recently.
In
It was
Australia?
yeah, they're all in Australia. So,
So what's the data on the ROI? Because I want to know, out of a million people that it gets sent to, how many clicked?
I would say that at least, I'm going to guess.
No, I'm going to ask everyone out there.
I'm going to say 20% clicked, and at least 10% of that 20% fell for it. And you know what the problem is, unfortunately? It's the older generation.
Deeply disappointing
And
people.
it's people that are just desperate.
Deeply disappointing.
But just be careful. Like, you're never going to get a text from a company like Telstra telling you can get an iPhone 11 for $1. It's just not going to happen. And if it does and you get it, please tell me and I'll give you your $1 back.
Get to.
Get to. I know, probably limited.
If
only
it does
fast.
happen and it's true, get to. Save me one. Okay.
What we got next?
Chippies.
Chips. Okay.
My favorite food.
So why have I got chips, Angela? My favorite punching bag. Actually, no, Mark Zuckerberg's my favorite punching bag. The NBN have disappointed us yet again. Don't think Australia's broadband network. It should be Australia's broadband network.
It should just be #fail instead of NBN.
It should be 100%. In
Replace
fact,
the 3 letters with 4.
Okay, 50,000 new orders for NBN at home are going to be delayed until like July. Why? Because they don't have the chips. They need HCF chips. What's it stand for? Hybrid fiber coaxial, HFC chips. Now,
that was your significance of the
chips
of the diagram.
That was quite cool, because if you're going to NBN, those are the only chips you're going to get. That's it.
They come with. You sign up for NBN, you get some
Got more chance
fries.
of Deliveroo or whatever delivering
so
chips.
As many hours as there are in a day
Yes.
are problems with NBN.
Yes.
Right. And it's continuous. So every new day brings new challenges and new problems. And one of the things that I dislike about the NBN rollout is this, it feels like they're trying to have a separation of church and state. So
Which
NBN
they can't do though, right?
providers, suppliers, if you pay more money, you get faster NBN.
But the people that need to be fired here are quite simply the planners. You know that orders are coming in. We've been working at home for a while now. This is not new.
Consequence.
No consequence.
There's no consequence for very poor execution, very poor project management. Clearly, in big events that have a government origin, there is no consequence. And that's something that the business world will never understand. Because in the business world,
but it just,
it's embarrassing.
We're in 2021, and this kind of stuff is still happening. And how long has this NBN debacle been going on for? Joke, actually.
A decade?
Well, there we go. So, guys, really,
I'm going to say a decade.
I'll buy you some chips. I can't get you HFC chips, but you've got orders coming in. Plan for it. Like, it's not hard, right?
Well, it's not hard because
it's like having a fuel station without fuel.
But we know how many people there are in Australia.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
We know how many homes, we know how many business sites. Someone does actually have that data.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you order 1 million extra. Big deal.
It's absolutely
you get bulk discount anyway.
Insane.
Anyway.
So I'm not sure why my screen's not sharing
and
anymore.
That's an interesting segue.
So that's an interesting segue too. Oh, you've got something you said that was quite disappointing.
Yeah. Here's another disappointing technology fact that I read about. Are you going to click? I'm just talking about it.
You've got to talk about it because I don't have it.
We're going to leave the NBN up.
Okay.
Or not.
Well, they are disappointing. You said you're going to another disappointing.
There's 2 that get the award, the disappointing award of the week here.
Okay.
And the other one is FPOS, the company, who have announced this week they've made tremendous innovative pivots, and they are now going to incorporate a QR code for payments. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is that I read this news item.
Did you actually use the word innovative?
Yeah.
Was that in print?
That's what they think.
Okay.
Because we've been conditioned to the QR code apparently.
Because of scanning in with COVID?
Because of COVID. So this is an ideal way now for FPOS to take their business to the next level.
Okay. So Alipay, WeChat, all these companies have been using QR code payments for 10, 15 years.
Well, we Googled it.
Yeah. But
2003 Alipay.
10 years at least.
But that's more than 10 years.
Well,
That's
15 years,
18
18
years.
years.
So what I don't understand is how they figure that this is amazing. When I saw it, I sent it to
I'm
Brett
still laughing.
and I just went like, seriously, even I know.
Yeah, no, that's not forgivable. That's
So-
sorry, guys.
Dear FPOS, you get the 4-letter fail, you and NBN.
Yeah, XXXX. And we're not buying you a beer either. That's just you failing.
Okay.
Right. So, well, there's a great comment. When is the NBN not disappointed us? Yeah, it's a case that's going to be the mantra.
I don't.
NBN guaranteed to disappoint.
Do they
Right.
have positive case studies on
No,
their
I don't
website?
think so.
We should have a look and read. Okay.
Right. Let's go on to Paramount. So remember last week, the app of the week was Just Watch. Remember I told you it would help us find where we wanted to watch stuff and
Yes.
how we want to watch stuff. I think this week we need to say just stop watching, because Paramount have now announced a new service called Paramount Plus, and they're going into the streaming wars now as well. So now we've got Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Apple TV. I know I'm missing some. Stan, shows, Kaya, DZ. And now we've got Paramount. Look, I don't think Paramount's coming to Australia yet, but the point is that, and unfortunately Disney started this. They're putting all their new releases onto Disney Plus. So Paramount, who's a film production company, is now putting their new releases onto this. Guys, what you're doing is you're actually killing the cinema experience.
And diluting the market.
But you're killing it though. Going to the cinema with your family, your mates used to be, it's an outing, right? Like, hey, this weekend, why don't we go and watch the new, put in the name of the show?
A lot of movies should only be seen on the big screen.
100%.
Right?
It's like crimes. I'll get into an airplane flying a long distance and it goes showing, let's say, Spider-Man. Not a chance I'm going to watch that on this funny little screen like this.
I'll binge on a series.
Out all the swearing like, damn you, Spider-Man, you naughty bug. It's got to go up into the huge screen with 20,000 insect arachnid things.
That's right. They're not.
Well, so it bugs me that I have to watch on the small screen.
However, So look.
Yeah.
As someone, I would like it to be in one home. Like Foxtel has useless channels that mean nothing and you pay for nothing. I'm just saying.
But it's okay. Like you're not expecting to get blockbusters there. Those come from when you miss them.
Okay, so really quickly, because we're pushed for time and we have more news to talk about, but really quickly, here's what annoys me. When you pay full freight for Foxtel and they rerun a series maybe 100 times a year, right? So, and it's a series that's had 8 or 10 seasons in America, and the final season was shown 15 years ago, and they re-loop it on Foxtel, and you can't go onto Foxtel on demand and watch all the episodes of that show of all the seasons. Because if they're only rerunning again on another loop and they're only up to season 2.
Yeah.
You're like,
that's a pain in the ass.
Like, what's the point? It's
so you can't actually watch
anyway.
the first season anyway, and now you don't know what's going on in the second season, but you can maybe watch the third season after the first season comes back out.
No, you can't.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
No, but that's just it. Like sometimes I get nostalgic and I'm watching like Buffy the Vampire Killer, which
you say it meant to be. No, come on, you can't.
I love it.
Angela, you've just lost.
I've watched every episode of every season, a bit like Game of Thrones.
Geller. I mean, she's hot. I just have to put that out there.
She was my version of a superhero. I adored her and all the mixed up, undying love. Anyway, I still like watching it, but I want to watch the final season again.
And you're saying you can't because it's not part of their license?
Because they're not. Because they don't run it again.
But now you could. Now, if you went to Just Watch the app last week and typed in, it would tell you where you could stream it.
Yeah,
it would tell you.
And the same with Blue Bloods.
I do not know
that really annoys me too.
Is that a show as well?
That's an American police TV series.
I don't know that show.
Anyway, that's my gripe. Okay.
I'm going to have a positive.
I've got to shout
out to the Telecommunications Industry Ombudsman,
otherwise known as TIO.
TIO, actually, that's quite a nice little acronym. TIO. So, talking about small businesses, we're always a big fan of small businesses. Our guest of the week.
Well, we are a small business.
We're a small business as well. I'm
an SME, which is a small to medium enterprise.
Okay, well, I'm on diet, so I'm just small at the moment. I'm not medium. So I'm working on COVID belly. I've claimed COVID belly as mine. I had an incident with a really, really big telco provider.
He did.
And
He has lots of incidences.
I do, but this one was one of those
and some include footpaths in Waverley.
Yes, Waverley counts. I'm coming for you. I got plasters on my hands and my knees and my ankles. I took a nice
Brett's
tumble.
got boo-boo Band-Aids.
Yeah, it could be. Oh, let me see what's underneath there. It's pretty bad. So back to my TRO shout
Brett
out.
had an incident.
I had an incident
with a really big telco.
They weren't giving me the time of day.
And he
They
got a
told me
great
they just told
outcome.
me read your terms and conditions, which were questionable.
Which basically was
at
telling you
best.
to
Take a long walk.
Yeah.
And I went to the ombudsman, and the ombudsman, I filled out the forms. It was all done online. That's why I'm including this in the technology show. It was easy. I didn't have to speak to anyone. I filled out the
Now
questions.
this is a government department,
It is.
right? This is a government funded.
Well, I'm saying this because we had
taxpayer-funded
NBN, right, which was
department.
useless and cost 50 billion. This probably costs maybe 100,000 a year to keep going.
I'm sure it's more than that. However,
$1 million.
the
even.
system works. The process and the system worked, and Brett got a great outcome.
Okay.
So a big shout out to the
Big
TO.
shout out. But I think what's important is there is an ombudsman in pretty much every industry.
That's right. There is. There's
So-
a banking ombudsman, telecommunications, energy.
You were talking about the
everything.
hospitals the other day.
There's a patient advocate in every
Patient
hospital.
advocate. So we have choices, and you can go online and you can Google it. You just type in ombudsman telecommunications, ombudsman hotel. Takes you
Or,
through the journey. Or
if you have voice in a can,
you can just go, Alexa.
you can go, Alexa, get me Tio now.
I'll try that. I don't think it's going to work. But
Just-
now we're waiting for our guest to join us. So
Yes.
instead of just having that moment of silence,
He's not arrived.
I don't see him sitting in the lobby. Why don't we go into Q&A and
Let's
then we
Fast.
can do.
Okay, so we're going to switch it around.
Yeah, we'll switch it around a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, well, I don't need a slide for Q&A. Where are some of our questions that we have for Q&A?
Well,
I've got to do an update. So remember last week I was talking about Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. That's all owned by Facebook, and that you couldn't forward anymore from WhatsApp to Facebook and,
Yes.
and Messenger. All of a sudden, it seems to be working now. I'd like to be Trumpian and say that's because of our show and they listen to us. But if they did, then Zuckerberg probably would have sued me by now. But they didn't. But there was a big update during the week. I think that their servers had massive glitches, and they just lost functionality. They actually pulled an Apple on us. They didn't admit it, but all of a sudden, 2 days ago, I noticed that the selecting Instagram and Messenger is back in a message forward.
So either it came back
It either came back.
or your original premise was incorrect.
No, my original premise was happening. I couldn't do it.
Just
And it wasn't mine. Someone asked the question. So I went in to check, and it's actually back on. But now I think I know where it is.
been restored.
They turned news off because no one else was reporting this around the world.
Mm.
So remember when they turned news off on us? I think they actually broke that part of Messenger because of the whole ability to share. They just turned that off.
I think Zaku,
Yes,
'cause
thank you.
that's how I'm referring to him. I think Zaku is sitting somewhere and he has like a menu, an electronic menu,
And you can
and
just
he
go,
goes like this. And he goes, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you're off. And that's it. It just
Well,
presses
he
a
did that
button
to us.
and it's gone.
and we were
That's-
gone.
That's right. And then forced all sorts of news platforms in Australia, some of them very small, not generating any money.
Yep.
He forced them to negotiate.
Well, I see that there have been some further deals done this week. Remember, I had the whole Yahoo
Yep.
thing. And even Facebook has done a couple of deals in that. They're both claiming victory, right? They're both saying, the government
Well,
saying they won, Facebook saying they won.
When
As long as
everybody,
we win, I'm
when-
happy. I don't give a shit who
but when
claims it.
everybody walks away from the table equally happy or equally unhappy, then there's a balance.
Correct.
So
I think they're equally unhappy in this case. But Messenger is working again.
Good news
and
for
I do
us.
think it was, because I did actually do some research, and I think it was when they turned news off, they actually broke it. Right, one of the questions that I like this question. This is a great question. What is an eSIM
I know the
and what
answer.
is the benefits? Okay, well, you take the question then.
an eSIM is an electronic version
Yes.
of your SIM card in your device,
Yes.
and you don't have to have a physical one that goes in your phone. So therefore, you never lose it and you can change it.
99% correct.
I only have to be 99% correct.
Well, in this,
In your HSC, that's 4 marks.
okay. So yes, what actually 100% correct. However, you can actually allocate a second number to it. I see our guest has jumped into.
So you can have a normal SIM in your phone.
You can have a normal SIM in your phone
and add an eSIM with another number.
Correct.
Tess.
So it can actually give you two numbers. So you can have your work phone and your home phone
on one phone.
On one phone.
So you don't look like a drug dealer with two devices.
Correct.
Anymore.
So
Tess, did you hear that? You can now take three phones.
So yeah.
Could you put two numbers?
No, you can only have two numbers.
But can't you put just another eSIM on?
No, it can only support one. So it actually started with the old technology
where
they didn't have.
Soon they will support more than one.
There is something I do need to add to whoever asked this question. So on Android, a lot of Android phones have a micro SD card, okay, for extra memory. So you have your SIM card and your micro SD card in one spot, or you can have two SIM cards. So that's where so they've always had the ability for two phone numbers. The eSIM is pretty much aimed at the iPhone market and for your watch. Your watch works on an eSIM technology as well. There's something I just need to point out. You cannot run 5G on an eSIM. So if you're buying the new iPhone for 5G purposes, don't get an eSIM. Get the physical 5G SIM from your supplier, and you put a second number on which can only run at 4G, just for now.
Okay.
Our guest is sitting in the studio. I'm going to quickly just do the last question that's come through and then bring Glenn into the show, because then we'll wrap up with Glenn instead of trying to go back to Q&As. So which BNPL service is the best one? BNPL stands for Buy Now, Pay Later. Simple answer, none of them. It's just my opinion. We're not financial advisors. Buy Now, Pay Later is one of these paydays. You can pay it off over 2 weeks.
See, now I disagree.
Okay, but I'll tell you why I say that.
I disagree because if you'd bought shares in a couple of them, you would have made
different.
money.
Yes.
When we say best, what do we mean?
Right. So the question that comes back is, you should ask yourself, if you can't afford the product, should you be using a Buy Now, Pay Later service? If you want me to give you an answer on that, of all the research I've done, I think that Hulu is probably one of the better ones because it gives you 5 fortnights instead of 4. So if you're really trying to find a way to stretch, but we're not financial advisors, and I think you should also check what it does to your credit score. If you're using a Buy Now, Pay Later.
It does count. I will say not what does it do to your credit score. It does.
Okay.
Actually,
so that's something you need to.
Score.
That's just us doing that. Right. I'm finished with Q&A. Our guest is in our waiting area, listening to fantastic music. And
he's in the green room.
He's in the green room. Oh, yes, that's right. He's in the green room.
Being entertained by all our supporting staff.
Right. So let's bring him into the stream. And we need to turn that one to that one, or that one to that one, and go, hello, Glenn Colson.
Oh, I've got to say, that massage was amazing. Fantastic.
Did you get the refreshments?
Absolutely. The champagne was delightful. The caviar was probably a bit much. I'm like, wow, okay, this is...
we had an extra stock of beluga, and what do you do with it, right? You stick it in the green room.
Well, thank you. So I really appreciate it. I've also got to say, I was hit, speaking of technology, with a moment of anxiety because I live from my calendar, but it's in a real zoomed out view. And it wasn't until I zoomed in that I'm like, oh, we were meant to be talking at 25 past, whereas I just saw it floating somewhere around 2:30. So I apologise for being a few moments late.
Mr. Carlson, the issue is that our staff in the green room, our minions, informed us that you were relaxed, in a good, happy place. Don't interrupt him just yet. And we said, okay, we'll just,
He's getting his zen in.
Just like the Golden Globes week of it.
Well,
right, so Glenn, thanks for joining us today. I did have the screen up, co-founder of Dent Global. I have had the privilege of attending a couple of your sessions. In fact, I'll give a shout out to Grant Tom. It's just come to me now where all this came round. You asked me the question, how did I get to Glenn? It actually was through Grant. So Grant Tom, I know he actually listens to the show quite regularly.
I thought we were just about to have a Zoom moment.
With whom?
Or a StreamYard moment, because I saw the door open in the background and I thought, yes, something's going to...
My 18-month-old.
A child, a pet, or a spouse.
My 18-month-old now can grab the handles. We're thinking, do we change?
There we go.
Odds, but no, it'll only take her another few months to to work that out. So yes, every now and again.
We like those moments, and hang on to the 18-month-old because those moments are fleeting, Glenn.
Glenn, I'm going to quickly lay down why I was excited to have you on the show today. Yeah. So if you can tell what a key person of influence is, but more importantly in that intro as well, the reason why I thought it'd be great to have you on the technology show is it's all good to do the courses that you and the team offer at Dent. The technology plays a huge part in everything we do nowadays. So I'd be quite keen to see how you bring what we have and maybe even your favorite networks.
Yeah, cool. So, first of all, thank you for having me. Again, my name's Glenn. I run a company called Dent. We're best known for our Key Person of Influence program, where essentially we take established, successful business owners, entrepreneurs, whether they're lawyers, doctors, financial advisors, fitness trainers, typically people in a service type space. We have drone engineers and you name it.
That's cool.
And over a period of either sort of 6 to 12 months, we help project manage them to show up as the go-to brand in their industry, right? So, why is this important? Well, if you were to imagine, most people are spending time working in their business, right? And that's the big lament. I want to work on my business, not in my business. The problem with working in your business is you're working with systems and processes and training team and doing all this stuff that's designed to generate supply, right? You're generating your product, your service, you're making that better, you're making it more efficient, you're trying to make the business run, which has everything to do with generating supply. But what we've learned in first year, economics degree, is that the world works based on supply and demand. And if you generate more supply than demand, you'll never make profits. And so what key people of influence do, right? You see Elon Musk running around talking about these big picture ideas and principles, but what he's really doing is generating demand, because when he then says, all right, we're opening up pre-orders for the Model S or for the Cybertruck or whatever, he generates billions of dollars worth of demand that then can go into the supply side. If he was just a in the business engineer going, if we just make a great product, then the world will buy it. Well, there's been people trying to make incredible world-changing products for hundreds of years that just are obsolete and obscure or unheard of because no one's taken responsibility to lead from the front to generate the demand for what they do. So key people of influence lead from the front. They communicate their vision, their values. They communicate their value proposition. They're able to articulate powerfully at scale why people should work with them or their organization over the competition. And they have the recognition. It was Eric Schmidt, first CEO of Google, that said revenue fixes everything, right? If we can engineer demand, if we can communicate the vision, the values, and the value proposition and generate revenue, well, then we're essentially taking the entrepreneur's bet, which says, well, we're going to be able to make enough money to delegate everything that the key person of influence isn't good at, right?
So us civilians call that turnover.
Right.
Yeah. In my smaller pool world. Interesting though, when you label a KPI or you call someone a key person of influence, what's the measurement there, Glenn? And do you have competitive industries? So if two amazing people are in the same industry, well, I'm amazing.
I was going to say, you're actually putting me in your, geez, thanks, Angela.
But, how do they compete then?
Yeah,
or do you say, no, we've got the Tesla engineer, sorry, no more room for the other Tesla engineer?
Yeah, okay. So this is where we move away from the Tesla example, right? So I like big picture concepts to help orient people to it. But for example, let's just think, where are you right now geographically?
Sydney.
Okay. Let's just now go for a highly commoditized profession like an accountant or a mortgage broker or a real estate, right? How many businesses do you think Sydney could support to have multi-millionaire accountants that have got multi-million-dollar successful practices. They're making good money. They're contributing in the world in meaningful ways. Like, can there only be one, or could there be a lot?
Yeah,
A lot.
A lot. Yeah.
A lot, right? And
There
and what you
are a lot.
Right? This is my point, right? And so what you start to realize is this isn't Highlander. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that old movie where there can be
only one.
right? So if we're
Just
dealing,
like Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Oh,
there can be only
Buffy
one.
the Vampire Slayer.
Now, where does Highlander come into play? Well, technology, right? So there can really only be one Facebook or Google or something along those lines. And the way venture capital works in technology is let's actually invest in the one that's going to be the winner, right? And let's buy everything else and either roll it up into the one, so there ends up to be one Airbnb, one Google, one Facebook, one Instagram, and there's really no B version of any of them.
Yep.
But the moment where you're dealing with mere mortals, right, the reality is that there can be only one thing doesn't work. There can be plenty of fitness trainers making millions a year in Sydney, plenty of accountants, plenty of interior designers, plenty of et cetera, et cetera. So what we start to realize is, the market is vast, even if we're constrained to Sydney. When we realize that actually more and more people are coming online every day than ever before in history, and then in the next 5 years, everybody on the planet is going to have the ability to access super fast internet. Well, then our market.
Yeah, unless you've got NBN.
Well, I think you're gonna jump that install base pretty quick. You're going to subscribe to Musk's internet service when he launches it, no matter where you are on the planet.
In the galaxy, I think you're referring to, because clearly we booked our tickets to Mars.
You'll have strong.
It looks like a jump.
You're going.
First pictures.
You're going to Mars. Your wife told me you're going to Mars.
You might need a booster to get the Wi-Fi to Mars, but I'm sure he's going to work it out, right? So instantly, we don't have to worry about competition anymore. It's usually something that gets in people's way because in their first year of university, they needed to do a SWOT analysis and to identify the competitive analysis of the landscape of the market. And it's like, you know what? That really doesn't make a lick of difference for the vast majority of small business owners. Yes, it matters if you want to be the CEO of General Electric, but otherwise, probably not.
Yeah. So just being conscious of time, and that's a great intro as to what it is, because when you talk about the key person of influence, it sounds like a singular. So that does expand it. Technology is obviously a very important thing. You mentioned there is only one Facebook, there's only one LinkedIn, there's only one Insta. Now, if you've got 10 accountants that are really good, they're all good, they all have the same skills, etc. How do they stand out, given that there's only one technology that they could use to be getting their message out there? Or are there different technologies?
What do you mean?
Let's say LinkedIn. Let's say LinkedIn is the tool of choice, right? It's a professional service. So they're going to use LinkedIn. They're going to put their posts on LinkedIn. They're going to talk about what they do and who they are on LinkedIn. But so are the other 9. So how do we differentiate? Or what do we do with tech maybe to differentiate the 9 of us?
Well, so the first thing I'd say is I wouldn't just choose any platform because, I'm a professional service provider, so that means I have to use LinkedIn. Right. Because what we're trying to do is how do we capture people's attention where they're at? So I think less about what's my industry and what makes most sense from my industry. It's like, where are my people? Where are my audience?
I told him that.
No. And
I told him that.
This is good.
Right. And so we have an accounting firm that we've worked with as a client of ours, Inspire. Their website's inspire.business. So they went from just thinking of themselves as being accountants to wanting to be a force for good in the world. And if you go to their Facebook page, you'll see they produce a lot of video on Facebook that's been seen millions of times, right? They do little posts on the budget and it goes like millions of views, right, on Facebook, right? And so they've built a multi-million-dollar profit organization from 2 people to 30 people, from $200,000 in revenue or turnover to 2.5 million in profit through Facebook. They don't do anything on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
And so just the first thing I like to think about is when everyone's zigging, zag. Right. Yep. When everyone says, you're a professional service advisor, you should be on LinkedIn. That's where I'm looking at Instagram, right? Or like something different. But beyond that, just think, where is my audience?
That's a very good point. I mean, like even TikTok, I've started noticing now how the brands are moving into TikTok, but using memes as opposed to just brand adverts because that's their audience. That's where they.
But Glenn, you brought up TikTok. I've been watching TikTok with my 6 and 4-year-old nieces to watch not music, food hacks, because we love food hacks. Right. And of all the places to watch,
you see it on TikTok.
It's on TikTok, and we love it.
Right, so 4 and 6-year-olds have no attention. TikTok is like the narrowest possible attention. It's built for them, right? So me dealing with my average, typically we're working people between 35 and 55. Snapchat, TikTok, not irrelevant, right? Don't care, not interested. It's going to be another 2 decades before those people have grown up enough to be in my target market. So where's your audience? Right. Yeah. For the vast majority of people, it's going to be it's going to be LinkedIn, it's going to be Facebook, Instagram is technically still Facebook, etc. And your own database and your own email. That's going to make up the majority of it until something new pops up. But something new is going to pop up, and then you got to ask the question: is my audience there? So,
e.g. Clubhouse.
Yeah, same deal, right? It's like Clubhouse is booming, and people are wasting vast amounts of time on that thing, and the question is my market there?
Yeah,
right. And if the answer
is that it's not about the tech or even the channel, you've got to start off with that: is my market there? I mean, today I wrote a post and I referred to Simon Sinek. To start with why, and everything that he does or that he teaches is start with why. So what you're saying for any of the small businesses out there, or even medium business, I suppose, where is the audience? Yeah. And once you identify that, then what technology do you need to get to them? Be a podcast.
I would even start with something, and you keep me constrained with time, but we start with something called assets, right? So an asset is, let me take another step back. Imagine there's a spectrum. On one end of the spectrum, the wealthy, right? The wealthy make their money from earning a return on assets. So be it properties or shares, right? They're not leveraging time. On the other end of that spectrum, the poor, if we say, and the poor can include like the middle class, like anything in comparison to wealth, make their money selling time, right? Yeah. And leveraging labor. And everyone's on that spectrum somewhere. So if we want more wealth, we've got to think of, well, how do we accumulate more assets? Well, we've got to buy more property and more shares. Okay, well, that's expensive and I don't have enough money. Okay, so this is where we go in and we develop intellectual property assets from what we know and understand, right? And so when we then go in and start creating assets that don't cost anything because they're coming from our knowledge and our expertise, when we start, so for example, this accounting practice that I was talking about. So one of the things they did is they wrote a book called Cashed Up, right? How to pull more money, time, and happiness from your business. The second thing that they created was an online diagnostic tool, again, based on their knowledge of the 6 key areas of accounting. You could answer 40 questions and it would unpack your business in terms of strengths and weaknesses. This is taking intellectual property of what they know about how to pull more money, time, and happiness from your business. They've got it in a book. They've got it in a digital diagnostic tool that people can do for free. Now, and they've got podcasts and all sorts of other stuff that they've got. But let's just take like a book and a scorecard, right? These are now assets that prime people to the idea that they've got a problem that this particular accountant could solve. This particular accountant has this philosophy that they could solve. And so then we go, well, okay, we've got a book and we've got this digital diagnostic type tool. Now what do we do with that? We'll freeze frame and enter artificial intelligence matchmaking, which is essentially Google and Facebook. Now, what does Google and Facebook want? Well, they want you to pay more attention on their platforms. How do they do that? Well, if you're providing value, they're going to try and use their algorithms to find people that see value in the stuff you're putting on the platform. So the thing is, how do we build more valuable assets? How do we build more valuable containers of value that aren't linked to our time and aren't just BS social media posts, which just adds to the noise? And then what happens is these algorithms get really good at finding people that want the book, or finding people that want the scorecard, and it learns, oh, this type of person will take the scorecard. I'm going to go find more of those people. These are the sort of people that are going to buy the book. I'm going to go find more of those people. But you're not going to get that level. You're not going to get the algorithms of these gigantic platforms tuned to just posting content. It's not what they're designed to do. The moment you've got more powerful containers of value, like events or workshops or courses or books or digital diagnostic tools, or what we would call assets, these algorithms can find the audience that want to consume those assets. And these assets, do they generate supply or demand? They generate demand. And so the whole focus of a key person of influence is thinking about, how do I develop the assets of influence that these algorithms and these massive global companies want, so they can build more of an audience, and in doing that is going to generate more demand for my business than I need to hit all my goals. So then you can focus on my side and not go out of business.
You're talking about commercializing IP or the intangible that comes with any seasoned business owner of any category, right? So those other things that they know besides the processes and the systems and labour. You're talking about commercialising all of that into a structure that pushes them forward to make more money.
Buy your stuff. So we would say products don't make money, product ecosystems make money, right? So a lot of people write a book, right? So there's the key person of influence book, right? A lot of people write a book and they think, okay, I'm going to make money out of this book and I'm going to sell this book. The moment that you think I'm going to sell a book, right, then what you've done is you've created supply. And so now you've got a book, you want to sell the book, it's $30 on Amazon. Now I've got to somehow go and generate demand for that supply, which is why trying to sell books is very, very hard. Whereas the way we approach and way a lot of key people of influence approach this is they go, no. The book is not about supply. The book is about demand. So I'm going to give the book away for free, right? Because I haven't built this to generate supply and try and make money out of. I'm building it to generate demand. So let's give this and send this book to 1,000 people a year, just 1,000, but in my industry. So it doesn't matter if you're in corporate or small business or whatever it is, but if you were to write a powerful book that shares your insights and you get it in the hands of 1,000 people a year, how much inbound opportunity are you going to attract just off those 1,000 people? And most people would say, well, actually quite a lot, and probably more than I need to hit some really cool results in my business. And so the moment we start to see, there's activity that I do that's on the supply side, there's products and services I can create on the supply side, but there's also activity I can do on the demand side, and there's products and services that I can create on the demand side. So while we're technically commercializing IP in this book, we're not doing it by selling the book. The book is just a cog, or anything else we've been talking about is a cog in a broader system where the product of the whole is profit, as opposed to any individual piece making money. A good example of this is BMW, right? BMW selling a car, they don't make money selling the car. The profit in their business comes in providing people with the finance on the car and providing people with the lifetime of mechanical support at the BMW dealerships, right?
And knowing that between 3 to 5 years you're going to want to upgrade, so they've got to show you love during that time.
In the same way that a printer, like a paper printer, is cheap, but the expensive stuff is the cartridges. The BMW is cheap and they don't make money on the BMW, but they make money on the money to buy the BMW and the after-sales service and the support. So to understand that, the BMW, while it's a flagship product, it's part of a broader ecosystem that makes money. The moment you try and focus on a single product or service to make money, it's like trying to get a whole glass of orange juice out of one orange, right? You're going to be squeezing pretty hard and feeling pretty underwhelmed, which is how most people feel in small business. But the moment you realize, I'm going to get my glass of orange juice out of 6 or 7 oranges, right? 6 or 7 different types of products. Some products are designed to capture people's attention. Some products are designed to make sales. Some products, deliver revenue. Some products do recurring revenue. Like there's a different product for a different category. then we see product as a whole, not as a individual thing. No one's ever going to make a lot of money selling a book, right?
No.
Or selling an online course. No one's ever going to make a lot of money just being an accountant. But the moment we bring it all together, that's where the action happens.
So just we do have to wrap it up, but just to, how many key persons of influence do you have?
Oh, we've had three.
How many are currently incubating?
Oh, well, so we've had 3,500 alumni over 10 years. So 3,500 people, because we don't not just in Australia, we're in the UK, we're in the US. So it's a global thing. So 3,500 alumni. At any given point, we've got 200 globally incubating, right? We're going through the production process. Yeah, we've produced just under 1,000 authors in 10 years, right?
It's significant milestones, aren't there? Business aside, financial realities aside, just changing people's mindset on what they can achieve is essentially phenomenal. That's where the innovation takes place for regular people, Glenn.
So, and I know you've got to wrap up. The thing that we find is environment dictates performance, right? You want to get better at tennis, join a tennis club, right? Yeah. You want to get better at martial arts, you join a dojo, right? You want to get better at all sorts of things, you go to CrossFit or something like that. So I was a clubbie down at Bondi, right? In the surf club there. That's a high performance environment with a very focused outcome, and it provides the tools and resources and everything you need to make sure people don't drown in Bondi, right? Sporting clubs, again, there's an ecosystem designed to provide the players with everything they need to get out and kick goals. And so we just do the same with business. And I agree with you, right? Simply being in that environment, methodology aside, you just get a motivated group of passionate people together, all wanting to kick the door off the hinges and make a dent in the universe. They will do that, right? Yeah. Also, you give them some guidance, some mentoring, some feedback, all that kind of stuff, some accountability and some structure, and it goes to the next level. And so if I could end on one thing, it would be this. If in any area of life there's an area where you feel you are lacking in terms of a level of performance, don't look for a tool, a trick, a hack, or a platform, right? Because they're going to change. They're ephemeral. Look for the environment that would cause the outcome or cause the level of performance you want to happen, right? No amount of watching YouTube videos is going to help you get fit, but if you show up to a CrossFit 3 times a week, that environment is just going to cause the outcome you want to happen. And if you apply that to
you've got nothing to say. That's not in reference to Brett's COVID kilos, is it?
Well, I think we've all got a bit of COVID kilos going on.
I patented that. Glenn, thanks for your time.
Thanks,
I know that 3 minutes is definitely not enough to explain. Just quickly, where do we find you? What's the website?
Oh, you can go to dent.global. Okay. Right? But if anyone just wants to shoot me an email to glenn@dent.global, shoot us through your details. We'll give anyone that's watching a free copy of the Key Person Influence book, or just DM me on any of the socials at Glenn Carlson, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that. Just DM, hey, heard you on the show, love to get a copy of the book, give us your deets and I'll get one out to you.
Sounds good. Good way to end up.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. We appreciate it.
I think your 18-month-old needs you.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Right. So we're influencing and we're finding our niches. And for now, though, we're running, though.
Yes, we are.
We are running.
Okay. So
until next time, keep your screens clean
and your knobs shiny.